Thanks for staying. Welcome back. Now, economist Dr. Joe Acquah is pushing for parliamentary scrutiny of the $15 billion package from China to ensure the country secures the facility. This follows the country's inability to secure the entire $3 billion China Development Bank loan. There were reports the CDB facility was frozen because the Chinese government wanted Ghana to use its crude oil as collateral, although it was not in the original agreement. The $15 billion package, according to Vice President Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia, includes the remaining $2 billion CDB loan, which aims at transforming the economy. But Dr. Acquah tells Joy Business the scrutiny by Parliament is critical in order for us to know the real cost of the facility to the economy.
I can see where you are coming from, because we've talked about the $3 billion before. And I think that the $2 billion, the way I read it in the papers, is supposed to be a reactivation of the earlier agreement that the previous government, the NDC government, had with the Chinese. Now, part of the disturbing part of this whole thing is this: what happened to that memorandum of understanding? Why did it seemingly fall through? So my thinking is that we should hope that this whole thing goes to Parliament, because there were some rumors that it was a question of collateralizing oil monies, which the oil law, or the oil revenue law, so to speak, prohibits. Now, why the government of the day would do that and find that they could therefore not collateralize the oil revenues or the oil is a problem. So this time around, I'm hoping that Parliament will open up on this thing so that people know, so that we can all see how to mobilize our statements and our utterances to support Ghana. Mm-hmm.
But are we also giving in too much for this? Or you think that going to Parliament to then spell out all those details that we need to know and our commitment as a country for this?
Well, that's the whole problem, that it is important at this juncture that, remember there is this argument about some 2.25 billion and so on. There's a need for us to insist that the political class take their partisan politics out of the management of this economy. So we would all be listening. If the appropriate questions are being asked, I don't think we civil society organizations, civil society and Ghana as a whole, we've paid too much of a price on this developmental journey since independence. And it's about time that we took up the challenge. It's about our lives and our children and grandchildren's lives. So now we need to understand the terms under which we come to any agreement, be it the IMF donors, bilaterals, or whatever. Now Ghanaians must know what are the terms so that we can see what role we can play to make sure we use these resources properly. Yeah.
But what would a parliamentary scrutiny bring? Because some would say that the government, as an entity, has always gone out to secure loan facilities, and there are times that it goes to Parliament, it doesn't even go to Parliament. What would be the differentiating factor that if it goes to Parliament to know the responsibilities, what you're supposed to do, and even the actual amount, and what would be the cost to us as a country?
Well, but what I'm saying is that we are opening a new page, a page in which never before have we had civil society organizations insisting that institutions of state must be properly built. From our security, the role of the police, the thumb that seems to be always on the heads of the very agencies that should be making sure we are all safe.
Now, government has indicated plans to review the 5-year national export strategy. According to the Deputy Minister of Trade and Industry, Carlos Ahenkwah, the review has been necessitated because aspects of the plan do not seem to be in line with the new government's industrialization agenda. The national export strategy was launched in 2013 with the aim of developing non-traditional exports to enhance their contribution to the economic growth.
The National Export Strategy was launched in 2013 with the aim of developing non-traditional exports to contribute to economic growth. Deputy Trade and Industry Minister Carlos Ahenkwah, however, explains it has become necessary to review this policy to fully realize government's agenda to transform the economy through production.
Every country, I believe, has policies guiding various sectors. And of course, these policies will be, I would say, the guiding principles Then when the government comes into power, we put our own strategic plan into the policy to give it a better framework. And that is what we are looking at. We came to meet the National Export Policy, which is a very good document. But how does it fit into our general strategic plan in terms of driving this economy through industrialization? That is what we are looking at. We're going to review, of course, like I said, and lead the discussion in this direction by seeing how we can incorporate AGOA, the EPA, the ETLS, the CET, and of course our other bilateral and multilateral arrangements that we have with other countries. By so saying, I'm not saying it's a bad document, no, but how do we push all these mix together to get one strategic document which would beef up our strategic plan? That's what I'm looking at.
Mr. Acquah spoke with Joy Business after engaging senior management of the Ghana Export Promotion Authority, GEPA, in a 3-day retreat at Ibri in the Eastern Region. Gifty Klenam is the Chief Executive of the Ghana Export Promotion Authority.
We met an institution which has gone through many challenges in terms of the entire structure of the GEPA. So we thought of doing realignment and see how we can restructure the entire institution back to befit the purpose of which the authority existence. And for that matter, we decided to put up, a lot has happened already, but we decided to put up this retreat as well to get the stakeholders to come and we all share our view to that. So if you see, I have invited almost the chief executives who were there 20 years ago and over the years. And I mean, I'm sure they've gathered their own private sector experiences and all that. We are putting all together. We have the export strategy all right, but we are talking about the kind of implementation that will let us achieve our aim, especially for relating to this government vision. And so this is the reason why we've put this retreat together.
The event was attended by the authority's key strategic partners to initiate a consultative process on avenues of support from development partners.
Let's now do some market analysis. And trading resumes on the stock market on Tuesday and is likely to record lower trade volumes this week as there was no activity on the first day of the week because of the public holiday. Now, reports indicate the capital market ended the last trading week on a positive note but expects a decline in trade volumes and values in this 4-day trading week. Now, Joe Acquah, investment and stock analyst from Nordia Capital, is now going to join us with details of the stock market analysis. Good afternoon, sir. Welcome to the marketplace.
Good afternoon.
Now, if you could please take us through a recap of what happened last Friday and how the market opened today.
Well, the market was a bit bearish last week as compared to the previous trading week. We had volumes and values dipping by about 23% and 10% respectively. And we had as many as 8 stocks getting some price gains and 2 stocks shedding off some value. But generally, the market index, that's both the year-to-date yield and the commodity index, I beg your pardon, the market index saw an upward review.
Now, so yesterday was a holiday and it was absent. Now, was it going to impact on the market today?
The only impact we're expecting the holiday to have is the volumes and values that's being traded. Ordinarily, you have 5 days, that's a trading week, but since you have 4, it's 20% of the time gone. That's a platform for people to exchange monies and shares. And so we expect that to reflect in the downward review in terms of volumes and values. However, demand is demand, and so I don't expect that to have a negative impact on price movements.
Now, what equities are we seeking to follow or to keep our eyes on? The financial equities, other stocks market, other stocks?
Yes, the financial stocks have been driving the market for God knows how long. Last week you had 3 financial stocks experiencing price gains, and we expect this week not to be any different. We expect Standard Chartered Bank to lead the chart. Had 20 pesos with the price gains.
Sincere apologies for the technical hitch there. We could not end Aseya Akotia's analysis of the market. We'll certainly get him on the line if the technical issues improve. But for now, Joy Business has gathered Cocoa Board has secured about $1.5 billion in commitment from banks for cocoa purchases ahead of the next crop season. Cocoa Board has just ended its investor roadshow for its cocoa loan syndication in London. George Rafi has more.
Stands the one exact amount the sources borrow from the oversubscription. These funds for cocoa purchase the 1.4% that cocoa farmers said that they already plan from banks due to the lack of interest funds this year.
And the World Trade Organization, WTO, has pledged support to support Ghana in implementing the Trade Facilitation Agreement, which came into force in February this year. The agreement seeks to make trade easier, faster and cheaper by reducing the transaction time in international trade. The WTO says it has already begun negotiations with West African governments, including Ghana, on ways the agreement could help boost their economic potential. The Director of Information and External Relations of the WTO, Keith Rockwell, spoke with Joy Business after engaging the media on some multilateral trade challenges faced by West African countries.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, what the TFA means, the Trade Facilitation Agreement essentially is an agreement among WTO members to do away with unnecessary red tape. Long delays at borders cost companies money, cost consumers money. If you speak to entrepreneurs, and I've done that in this part of the world before, they say, look, tariffs can be a nuisance, but we know what the tariff is. That's something we can factor into our business model. What we don't know is how long we're going to be held up at the border, and everyone knows time is money. The longer you're kept at the border, the longer the delay, the more money it's going to cost everyone. By eliminating unnecessary paperwork, or by creating, for example, a single window, a single point where importers and exporters can go to get all the documentation that they need, fill in the documents there, and then they're on their way. Pay your fees at that same point, rather than going all over town, and everyone knows traffic in Accra can be pretty miserable. That kind of thing just makes sense. In fact, countries are doing this already. Under the WTO system, what this means is countries like Ghana can say, we are committed to doing this under a certain time frame. We're going to need technical assistance. We're going to need help. We're going to need resources in order to implement this, whether it's to automate customs procedures, whether it's to streamline the kinds of things that need to be done so that businesses can move goods across borders. That sort of thing, the WTO is here to help.
Now, the 10 Ghana elevator pitch has ended with a student from NUST, or the Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology, Ivy Barley, taking home $7,500. This was after succeeding to convince a 7-member jury with her business idea. The 10 Ghana elevator pitch is an initiative by 10 Ghana to reward young entrepreneurs with the best business ideas and wishing to penetrate the Ghanaian market. Here's more in this report.
The contest saw 150 young entrepreneurs pitch their ideas on the best reasons why their business ideas were convincing enough for the job market. Out of these startups, only 10 were able to make it to the finals, out of which the student from KNUST came tops. Founder and Chief Executive Officer of the 10 Ghana Project, Kelvin Peter Atuguba, said all young entrepreneurs will be given the needed support they need to ensure that they remain relevant to the job market.
By 2020, 3 out of 4 Africans are going to be the youth, and that's already we are facing unemployment challenge in this country. And what are we doing? Most of our students, our graduates, come out from school and look for white-collar jobs. Those do not exist. So we are trying to find an alternative for them. Whilst they are in school, they should be thinking how to actually develop a business idea.
On her part, the Deputy Minister for Business Development, Efua Asabia Sare, reiterated her outfit's commitment to ensuring that young entrepreneurs are given the needed financing to expand in Ghana's competitive job market.
To this program. So the mandate of the Ministry for Business Development is to create a sustainable and most business-friendly, entrepreneurial and innovative private sector-led economy that fosters private sector investment and job creation.
Winner of the 10 Ghana contest, Ivy Bali, said her startup will provide Ghanaian girls with the needed technical support to soar in the field of science and technology.
I'm very, very excited because it's actually very fulfilling to know that people believe in what you are doing and are ready to support you. So I'm very happy about this.
What do you think sets you apart from your other colleagues?
I would say my confidence and also believing in what I'm doing, because I believe everybody had great ideas and we are all winners. So yeah, I took the money home, but they are still winners.
All right, so $7,500 what are you going to be prioritizing with this very capital?
Okay, so like I stated in my pitch, we want to secure a facility for our training, so this money is going straight into that. So first of all, our target market for our coding classes are ladies who are about to complete university, so they are people who actually need jobs. So after the training, because they are working while they are learning, they get the opportunity to get an employment and also to get an income for themselves and their families. So that's how we're also bridging the unemployment gap in Ghana.
The contest comes in the wake of government's quest to seek solutions to the unemployment situation in the country.
Let's now head to the downstream petroleum sector, where developing issues are unfolding, and the Chamber of Petroleum Consumers Ghana, COPEG, says its investigations till date indicate not a single litre of contaminated products discharged by the bulk oil storage and transportation BOST has been returned to the company in Tema, where it was loaded from between Monday and Wednesday of last week. BOST has been accused of releasing contaminated fuel into the market. COPEG says it has received numerous complaints from consumers of these products across the country. COPEG is calling on the public to help track and arrest any fuel station dealer found to be selling these contaminated products by reporting to the NPA and other authorities. Let's now get in touch with Executive Secretary of COPEG Ghana, Duncan Amoah, for some more information. Good afternoon. Welcome to the marketplace, Duncan. Now, so what are your indications or your investigations bringing out?
In fact, it is becoming murkier and murkier as BOST has attempted severally and variously to defend this apparent reckless deal that it has subjected all of us to. Indeed, one will be asking, could something have been done by a contaminated product such the product will retain its value? Yes, is the answer. And as we speak, BOST even imported some off-spec products that is being worked on at Tema Oil Refinery.
Yeah, but Duncan, before you go on, BOST has insisted that Tema Oil Refinery, as it stands now, is not fully operating. Therefore, that option is no more.
In fact, Emmanuel, I am putting it to BOST that they have a cargo at Tor now that is being blended as we speak right now. And so that defense was not only needless, was not only bad, but it was totally, misleading.
All right, so how serious is the consumer, the petroleum consumers saying about what you are telling us?
I didn't get that too well, Emmanuel.
Now, how serious is the reaction from consumers concerning the sale of these contaminated products? What are you getting from consumers?
In fact, I can confirm to you clearly, without mincing words, that the reports we are getting from around is not very pleasant. Quite a number of people are already complaining that their vehicles seem to be giving them a certain reaction since the outbreak of this very story. And unfortunately, both seem to be on the defense, suggesting that they have done nothing wrong. But in the history of this country, we have not sold contaminated products to that tune at any point in time. And that is exactly why we are worried. Boss is treating this issue with the kind of storage it's giving all of us.
All right. Now, you are representing consumers. What is the NPA doing to favor the interests of consumers, since that is the regulator?
In fact, as far as we know, the NPA has suggested on Friday that the transaction should be reversed, and if possible, the products be recalled back from wherever it sends the products to. Unfortunately, as we speak now, not a single liter of the product has been recalled from the market, and that leaves us further suspecting or believing that indeed the product is gone out to the public, and some firms could be discharging or dispensing this product to the unsuspecting public. We think this is that, and sanctions must apply immediately. Officials who let us in taking this very reckless decision ought to be interdicted immediately, and where some are found culpable, prosecuted accordingly. Because this indeed is leaving all of us worried as to what we'll be taking into our view.
All right, many thanks for your time, Duncan Amoah. Duncan Amoah is Executive Secretary of COPEC Ghana, that is the Chamber of Petroleum Consumers. Now, the BOST, or the Bulk Oil Storage and Transport Company Limited, is insisting that no quantity of contaminated fuel has been released onto the market so far. Now, we spoke earlier the media relations manager of the company, Nana Acquah, being earlier spoke on the Super Morning Show on Joy FM and gave her assurance. Let's listen to what she said.
Options. The first option was to have a corrective treatment of the off-spec product at all. Okay. But then it was not possible, and even now, anybody who knows WhatsApp in codes should know that it all is not refining. Then and now. Okay. The second option was that for every 10 million liters of the correct spec product that you and I can put in our vehicles, we need about 70,000 liters of the off-spec product, what people are calling out there contaminated. You know, we prefer to use the right term, it's called the off-spec. Okay. We need about 70,000 liters of the off-spec product.
10 million gallons. Per
10 million liters.
Okay, all right.
To inject into it. And if you do the calculation, it was going to take BOST 10 solid good months. If we have time, I would
dilute it until it becomes spec, if you like. Okay.
So for every 70,000 liters of the off-spec products, it was going to take BOST 10 months. So ideally, from a business point of view, that was out of the equation. And the third one was to sell off the off-spec, which is not something new, which has happened before. The 10,000 that has gone out, Zoop Oil came 100,000. The 100,000, sorry, is actually there.
Where?
They have taken it out to the various steel companies. That's what they are supposed to be. That's where they are supposed to be taken to.
How
it's not something for you to be. Okay, Kojo, so these OMCs come to us, the BDCs come to us, and they sell it. We use our tracking system to check whether they've gone out to obscure or wrong places.
Right.
That is the normal thing.
So you have evidence, you have tracking evidence that this stuff has gone to specific places, the 100,000 liters. You know where all of it has gone?
No,
the tracking system will tell you?
Yes, the tracking is supposed to tell us that now. The tracking system has not come up with any fishy places or obscure places.
Ben watching. On its part, policy think tank African Center for Energy Policy, ACEP, has questioned the propriety of the agreement entered with a waste oil dealer, saying it could end up on the market and subsequently purchased unknowingly by consumers. BOST on May 19 commenced transactions with waste oil dealer Moving Pina to sell off the contaminated fuel, a development ACEP is unhappy about. Ben Boachi is executive director of the center.
8 million liters of product, though it's huge for small-scale consumption like giving it to industry, is actually about 1.5-day consumption of our country. So it's not so much fuel that if you want to blend for the market to be able to dispose of it, it will be difficult to do. So even if assuming that it will take 10 months to do that, I'm telling you that Boss has the space and capacity to do that. Boss has products that have lived there for almost 10 years, and they still have them in stock. You know, products that you've not been able to dispose of for some similar reasons in Kumasi and other places. They haven't disposed of that. Why not the rush to dispose of those ones, but this one? We have also been tracking where this product could possibly be. We're told in Boss statement that they sold it to, the off-taker was Zip Oil, and they inspected their facility to ensure that they could actually hold that capacity. And they ensured that the trucks that actually moved the product up from Bost were tracked and went into that facility. All
right, so that was a reaction by the Africa Center for Energy Policy. We'll still keep our eyes on this particular development and bring you reports in our subsequent bulletin. But for now, it's a wrap for the marketplace. Many thanks for your time and your company. My name is Emmanuel Abuaji. Let's meet again same time tomorrow. Have a good afternoon.